All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, what's going on? Welcome to another installment of the Nutrition Guide, right? We're going to talk about some food stuff. We're going to talk about more effective ways to lose weight, right? In particular, this video is going to be about diet structure, right? Nutrition structure. We're lacking structure big time. And when you're lacking structure, what this leads to is just indiscriminate eating, right? We're just kind of just eating whatever is available, right? Or whatever tastes good. Or if we're in a group, right? Where's that group going to eat, right? So I guess I'll just eat what they're eating, right? And we kind of just come to this vague agreement on like, hey, how about we have some of this? Now think about the last time you went out to eat with people. Did you choose where you were going to eat according to any type of nutrition goals, right? Chances are you didn't. You were just like, hey, what tastes good? What are you in the mood for, right? And it's this thing, right? In our society, we know exactly how much money we're making. We know exactly how many hours we got to do. We know exactly how much taxes we pay that goes into state and federal, social security, all this type of stuff. Or if you're not in the US, right, whatever your bills are, right? We know how much our bills are and everything like that. We know what type of budget we need. But when it comes to our food, it's kind of like this thing of just whatever goes. So, and this is a problem here because now there's no structure. And we can't really reach our goals without having any real structure. Now you hear all the time, fitness goals, right? Weight loss goals. What is your goal weight? What is your goal body fat percentage? What is your goal clothing size, right? But we don't talk about nutrition goals. How many people talk about nutrition goals? You're talking about weight loss goals and fitness goals. They don't talk about nutrition goals. Now, in order to get to your weight loss goal, in order to get to your fitness goal, you got to get to your nutrition goals, right? So let's focus on that. Let's focus on nutrition goals. Let's focus on the structure, right, that allows us to reach our nutrition goals. So how do we simplify the process? How do we get in all of our vitamins and minerals that we need in the quantities that we need them, right? How do we track all of this stuff, right? Do we need to watch our calories? Do we need to track our calories? No. Do we need to limit our carbohydrate intake? No. Right? So what do we got to do to have a nutrient-dense diet? Do we have to track our macros? No. What do we need to be tracking? We need to be tracking categories of foods, right? We need to be tracking quality. Are we eating quality foods? And are we eating quality foods in their respective categories? So let's talk about the categories. There are 5 categories. Now, before I move forward, okay, you should probably write this down, right? You can always come back and watch the video, but putting it on paper works like magic, right? So 5 categories. Category number 1 is going to be fruits, right? The fruit of life. Fruit, number 1. Number 2, dark leafy greens, okay? Dark leafy greens. This means things like spinach, kale, things like Brussels sprouts, asparagus, artichokes, right? All this type of stuff, cabbage, that's all of that. Dark leafy greens. Number 2, whole grains, right? Things like rice, quinoa, amaranth, farro, oatmeal, right? Or just oats, all that type of stuff. Those are whole grains. That's number 3. Number 4, nuts and seeds. Nuts and seeds can be cashews. It could be almonds, walnuts, right? Brazil nuts, pecans, pistachios, right? As for seeds, they can be sunflower seeds, safflower seeds. They can be chia seeds, hemp seeds, flax seeds, right? That's where you're getting that ALA, those omega-3s, right? So that's number 4, right? Nuts and seeds. Number 4. Number 5 is going to be legumes. Legumes, when I say legumes, I mean beans. I mean lentils, right? Peas, split peas, things like that, of that nature. Okay? So basically, let me sum it up. Let me repeat it, okay? Number 1 is fruit. Number 2, dark leafy greens. Number 3, whole grains. Number 4, nuts and seeds. And number 5, legumes. Even peanuts are legumes, but I more so refer to them as nuts because of the high fat content. Okay, so if you were to have peanuts in your diet, let's put that in the nuts category, right? So there you have it. And so we go, okay, we got these 5 categories. Now these 5 categories, we want to be hitting each and every one of these 5 categories on a daily basis. So I'm gonna give you 4 examples, right, of a whole day of eating. All right, so this is huge, right? You might want to write this down. Now, example number 1, meal number 1 would be fruit and nuts, right? So you pair nutrient-dense foods and calorically dense foods, right? So you get filled up, right? You got some density in your diet, but you also have nutrient density from the fruit. So a good example of this would be a grapefruit or an orange with 2 bananas, 1 apple, and a handful of any berries of your choosing. Raspberries, blueberries, blackberries, right? Things like that. Grapes, that's fine too, right? And so you have all the fruit there, and then you mix it in with a 1/4 cup or a 1/2 cup of nuts. Now, any nuts. It can be Brazil nuts, almonds, walnuts, cashews, pistachios, whatever the case is. And you mix a 1/2 cup of that or a 1/4 cup of that with the fruit, so that it fill you up, give you a lot of energy, right? You're getting a good amount of carbs, some healthy sugars, right? Fats and things like that, and a ton of antioxidants, right? Vitamins, minerals, right? Potassium, all that type of stuff, etc. Example number 2 would be, let's say, a cup of oatmeal with some cinnamon and some chia seeds and some flax seeds, right? With maybe another banana chopped up in there, with maybe some raisins or maybe some dates with that. And dates are sweet, they taste really good, right? And you put that in there. So it's sweet and it's nutrient dense, right? Also loaded with carbs, healthy fats, right? Again, another power packed meal. 1 and 2, bam, right there. Okay. Number 3 can be a 1/2 pound or a whole pound of potatoes. Let's say sweet potatoes, white potatoes, any potatoes of your choosing. My favorite is sweet potato, right? And sweet potatoes loaded, nutrient dense. Okay. There's been scientific studies that show that you can eat potatoes all day, every day, day in and day out, and have a complete diet from that. That's actually very healthy. Of course, I like variety, right? Because variety is the spice of life. So I'm not going to suggest you just eat potatoes all day, but you definitely could. That's how important potatoes are. Potatoes are huge, right? So you have that 1/2 pound to a pound of potatoes. You can boil them. You can bake them, do whatever. You can have smashed potatoes, right? And within those smashed potatoes, you can mix in some more chia seeds or ground up and mix in some hemp seeds, right? To get those omega-3s in even more so, right? And you get that. And next to those potatoes, you get that with dark leafy greens, right? That could be cabbage, chopped spinach, kale, whatever the case is. Artichokes, leeks, Brussels sprouts, right? Broccoli, whatever you want to do. Maybe some chopped carrots in there, right? And chop a little bit of that in there, get some beta carotene in there, right? Peppers, red peppers, yellow peppers, right? Chop up some onions in there, all of that, right? And mix that in with the potatoes. You can do it 1/2 and 1/2, just potatoes and then the dark leafy greens. And again, what we're doing is we're mixing very, very nutrient dense foods with calorically dense foods, right? The potatoes, very calorically dense, high in carbs. So is the vegetables, right? But the vegetables is lower calorie, but high in nutrition, right? So that's like a little rule of thumb to follow there, right? We have calorically dense food with nutrient dense food, and we put them together in one meal, right? So you stay full and satiated, right? And energized, because a high carb diet will give you so much energy. This is why I'm fired up on my videos all the time, right? Because I don't skimp on my carbs. I'm not doing that. And I can stay lean all year round on a high carb, nutrient dense diet like this, you will feel amazing. I promise you, right? Okay, so far that's 3 meals. Now number 4, right? Because we're not done with all the categories yet. So what do we have left over? What's the last category we got to get into? We got to get into legumes. So the 4th meal would be any beans of your choosing. Like let's say let's say a cup and a half of beans, any beans of your choosing. Black beans, red kidney beans, garbanzo beans, or also known as chickpeas, right? But get that in there, that cup and a half, that's like 24 grams of protein right there, right? Or you can have a half a cup or a cup of lentils or split peas, right? A cup of lentils is like 52 grams of protein. It's loaded, right? Tons of carbs, fiber, right? All these are high fiber foods that I've mentioned so far, right? So they're going to be fixing your gut, balancing out your gut bacteria and all that type of stuff, flushing out the toxins and the excess cholesterol and the excess sugar, regulating your sugar and all of that, just fixing everything. It's amazing. So you mix those legumes, right? The beans or the lentils, whatever you want to do, and you mix that with, let's say, a half a cup or a cup of rice. Any rice of your choosing. You can have basmati rice, you can have jasmine rice, you can have brown rice, wild rice, whatever rice you like, you enjoy, right? Also loaded in carbs again, right? Decent amount of fiber. You're getting in your niacin there, your iron and all of that type of stuff. Just good stuff all together, right? And you can season that however you want. Season it with some garlic and things like that. You can smash up some garlic and put it in there. You can chop up some more onions and put it in there, because onions is amazing for your digestive system. Onions are low, especially raw onions. If you can stand raw onions or you can stand raw garlic, put that in your diet, right? Just make sure you have a mint or something like that after you're done eating if you're going to be in people's face talking, right? And again, with the rice and the legumes, throw in some dark leafy greens in there, right? Get a few cups of dark leafy greens in there. Put some spinach in there. Put some whatever, right? I mean, there's a crazy endless amount of vegetables that you can throw in there. Right, if we're blessed enough to live next to a grocery store, definitely take advantage. Get those dark leafy greens in there, okay? And so those 4 meals cover all 5 categories, right? You'll be full, well satiated, high protein, high carbs, loaded with nutrition. None of these foods are toxic foods that are going to cause you to gain weight and ruin your health and cause you to be obese and diabetes and heart disease and all of that. All these foods fix heart disease, they fix obesity, they fix diabetes, right? They regulate all of these processes. These are health foods, right? We don't just have fitness goals, we have wellness goals. We want to be well, we want to be healthy, we want to have vitality, right? So, what do I say? More love, more life. I'll see you in the next video.